special meeting of the Woodbridge Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020, 5 p.m. In accordance with Governor Ned Lamont's Executive Order 7B, Section 1, which suspends the open meeting requirements of in-person participation, audio and video of this meeting. This special meeting is being simultaneously televised live on WGA-TV, Channel 79, and YouTube at WGA-TV 79, in order to allow the public to view and to listen to our meeting. I will now call the list of all members of the Board of Selectmen and others who are participating in this meeting. I would remind participants to please mute your phones when you are not speaking, or your computers or whatever, to eliminate any background noise. Also, to please state your name for our listening audience prior to speaking. Please confirm your presence verbally as your name is called. Mika Cardozo?
Here.
Joe Crisco?
Mika Cardozo. Here.
Joe Dye?
Here.
Beth Heller is here. Dwight Rowland?
Here.
Sandy Stein?
Here.
Tony Genovese, Administrative Officer, Director of Finance?
Here.
Assistant Administrative Officer Betsy Agnew?
Here.
Town Counsel Jerry Weiner?
Here.
And Executive Assistant Jerry Shaw.
Here.
Thank you, Jerry. I think I've gotten everyone. Item 1 on the agenda is the First Selectman remarks. I will begin tonight by thanking the Board of Selectmen and our staff for being flexible and meeting for the third time this month. Additionally, thank you to all our department heads who joined us on Monday evening for our first ever virtual live preliminary budget hearing. We are continuing to react and modify our daily work as a town based upon Governor Lamont's executive orders. We are making every effort to help our residents through this pandemic. We have 2 items on the agenda, which are a direct response to COVID-19, one being a tax program, and secondly, a potential declaration of emergency for the town of Woodbridge. According to the latest information I received from Police Chief Cappiello this afternoon, quote, there are now 13 COVID-associated deaths. All but one are confirmed. We have 90 confirmed COVID-19 positive cases in town. 90 confirmed positive cases in town. Approximately 75% of those are associated with the extended care nursing facilities located in our town. The remaining 25% are private residences in town, end quote. In addition to the terrifying toll this has taken on our community, it's also having a devastating impact on many of our local businesses and residents. Finally, I recently spoke with Board of Finance Chair Matt Giglietti regarding the Board of Selectmen's request for a joint Board of Selectmen Board of Finance meeting prior to the meeting where the Board of Finance sets a mill rate, and he is prepared to have that meeting. There is a provision in the town charter that allows us to meet. Maybe Jerry, you'd like to explain that?
Yeah, everyone on the Board of Selectmen, we spoke about this request a couple of times, and I said that there was nothing in the charter that required it, and I went over the charter again the last couple of days, and there is a section 4-4B which states that the Board of Selectmen may request joint meetings of any board or commission if it is necessary to carry out the duties and responsibilities of the Board of Selectmen. So while the Board of Selectmen doesn't have any responsibilities for the budget going forward, because you already carried out your charter responsibilities by having the meeting and voting on the preliminary budget, it does seem that there is some rule or charter provision that allows that doesn't necessarily require in this particular case, but it could be required, and therefore the meeting with the Board of Finance would be appropriate. So I think Matt has told Beth that he wants to have it, so we can move forward.
Right. The only thing Matt did request, he would like to have parameters for the meeting, and ask that each of you choose to ask him any questions specifically. He would like you to email him with those parameters you'd like to be discussed before the meeting. So did everyone hear that part?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, thank you everyone for doing your part to keep us safe.
And I would just like to make it clear that the Board of Finance has the absolute ultimate responsibility for setting the budget under the executive orders, just so everyone knows.
I think we all understand that, and just given this unprecedented situation, we wanted the opportunity to kind of review where we are and have the benefit of both leadership groups in the town contribute to what that final outcome is. And I think we very clearly understand that setting the budget and the mill rate is the responsibility of the Board of Finance.
Thank you, Sandy. Item 2 on the agenda is discussion of Governor Lammont's Executive Order 7S-Section 6, which requires this board to adopt a tax deferral option for our taxpayers. We began this discussion last week at a special Board of Selectmen meeting, and tonight we hopefully will be able to take action, as our decision is required to be given to the State Office of Policy Management by April 25th. So hopefully you have in your packet some of the documents that were related to this. I would invite Tony to perhaps Harry go over where we are at this point with this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So one of the questions that came up last time was for the deferral option, what is the percentage of residents that pay directly, and what percentage of residents escrow their tax and pay through their banks? And about 56% of the residents pay directly, a little over half. That's one item that will impact the deferral option. And so I guess a couple of points on the deferral option. There are two ways you can institute the deferral option. You can do it for eligible for taxpayers. Those that are impacted by the COVID-19, and then you can have it for all taxpayers. Those are sort of the two options. Mm-hmm. Clearly, with the all taxpayer option, if all those taxpayers decide to defer, and we really won't know until the tax season is upon us, we would have a shortfall. So we would have to issue tax anticipation notes most likely in order to make up the gap between we'd probably spend about, in those 3 months, probably about $13 million, of which almost 6 goes to Amity, and the rest is for Beecher and for town, because we're the cash flow for the school as well. So it's about 13 million, and we'd probably take in maybe 11, 12. Depends on timing of state grants and some other revenues, but it's possible we would need to issue tax anticipation notes if we decide to go that option. What I would suggest is that we get the authorization to do that at a time in the funding. It does cost. There's a cost to issuance for tax anticipation notes, probably about $15,000 to issue to access the market, and probably $10,000 to $15,000 in interest, and how much we borrow. There'd be a cost to that, and so in the interest that we would not get out of the funds, or because usually we collect more in July and we have funds that we invest until we need the money. So we would have some lost interest income too on that option. That's sort of the best. That seems to be the one that has the best benefit, however, for individuals, because it allows the most people to defer their taxes.
I have a question, Tony. This is Sandy. Have you seen the form yet that people need to complete to be able to qualify for the deferment if we went that route, as opposed to making it everybody in the town?
Yes, I have the form here actually.
Can you explain what's on it? How complicated is it?
It's a 2-page form, and it basically asks for your information, and you have to check whether you're a resident or a business, and then there's a special section for landlords. You have to put on there the property for which is deferred, that you're deferring, is requested, and then there's a couple of certifications that it lists. Pretty simple, actually. A couple certifications that lists that you have to attest to, Then you sign.
Okay,
So it's basically your information, the property that you want to defer, and then you have to sign it.
okay. And does that get filed with the town or with the state?
So, let's see. I know we would definitely keep a copy because at some point, if we ever get audited, we would want to show that person's taxes were deferred, and this is the backup to
Okay,
not the state needs a copy, I'm not sure.
okay. I mean, I was trying to get at, how complicated is this process for, town residents? And it sounds like it's a pretty simple form to complete, and it's something
Yeah.
basically taken to town hall.
Right.
Who actually then approves that they qualify if we go the deferment route, and only those people who complete the form? What is your thought about that?
That the tax collector would be responsible for that.
Okay,
But Tony, I don't know how much discretion the tax collector has in saying yes or no.
No, yeah, right.
My understanding is that it's purely a ministerial act, that if they do the certification, and maybe it's good if you read what the certification is so people know what they have to, what they're saying when they request this deferral. But I don't think there's any discretion to turn somebody down as long as they sign the form.
Right. Right. I agree. It's just paper. It's an administrative task just to make sure that you have the forms to match the resident.
okay,
But the certification does say you have been adversely affected financially by the virus, right?
It says that first thing is you have to check your eligibility and say that my household has suffered a reduction in income of at least 20% due to COVID-19 since March 10th, 2020. I have been either 1, furloughed without pay, 2, had my hours significantly reduced, or 3, I am unemployed. This has resulted in at least a 20% reduction in my household income. So that's your eligibility. You have to check that off. That says that you're eligible. That's for residents. And then the certification. You want me to read the certifications? I could if you want.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay.
I think you should. Yes.
A, I am aware of the amount and or basis of the taxes, charges, and assessments that I am requesting to be deferred. I have hereby irrevocably waived all rights to appeal or dispute them on any basis. I understand that the municipality's lien, priority, and enforcement rights will remain unaffected during and after this period. First one. Second one. I understand that this request, if approved, will not defer any taxes, charges, fees, or assessments I may owe the municipality, which came due before March 10th, 2020, or after July 1st, 2020, or the interest and penalties applicable to them, or any other debt I may owe the municipality at any time. 3. I authorize the municipality and its agents to verify statements above and any certification information I have provided from its records and other third parties. I consent to those third parties releasing relevant information to the municipality and its agents for this purpose upon the municipality's request, and that a copy of this application shall be adequate evidence of my consent. That's what you were mentioning. I hold the municipality harmless in their collection of this data. And last, I understand that I must pay all taxes, charges, and assessments deferred in full within 90 days after the original due date, or immediately if the municipality determines that I am not eligible for deferment. I understand that if I fail to make payments as noted in this section, all interest, fees, penalties will be applied to unpaid portions retroactive to the due date. And then there's you have to attest to it. There's a section where you have to attest to it. Okay.
so can the form be completed and then just brought to town hall? Or does it have to be completed at town hall so someone is actually witnessing the completion of the form?
Swear that. It doesn't say anything about whether it has to be witnessed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, I don't know if you've seen the form, but it doesn't.
I haven't seen the form yet, no.
But
But I imagine anybody can bring it to town. If somebody brings it to town hall, that's probably sufficient. You can sign it at home, probably.
Or scanning it and emailing it in or something like that.
Yes.
Mailing.
All right. Now, there's joint ownership of many homes. Is this required of one of the owners, or does it have to be all the owners?
This property owner name.
Right.
I would imagine it would probably, that's a good question. I don't know the answer.
If it says
to that.
property owner name, you probably have to have both owners on it. It's owned by more than one
Yeah.
person.
Right.
Okay. I just think we would have to clarify for people exactly what they need so that it doesn't become an undue burden.
One other thing, Sandy, is it says you need proof of residency. Copy of driver's license, utility bill, or other proof of residency.
Okay. So then it couldn't just be scanned.
Yeah, probably not.
I just wanted to add this morning, I had a SCROG meeting, and I would say most of the folks that had responded already and was due on Friday or Saturday all went with the a deferment program. And some of them didn't even require it was to all taxpayers, not just those with a form. It's crazy, but that's what they chose to do, so. And I believe it was Jerry, New Haven was the one that went with both, is that correct?
Yes,
They
New Haven went with both.
Right, yesterday I saw that in the newspaper. So that's another option, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, because I was looking at the options we got, and there were only two options. Both, it's not one of the options.
Yeah, no, but I didn't put that in there.
It wasn't one of the, I'm just mentioning it wasn't one of the options. So really, the option.
I did not put that in the proposed draft, but it is true that the town could, if it wants, adopt both.
Correct.
If you do that, though, this is Sandy, when do you, is it the taxpayer who decides which one they want?
No, the town has to make the election today. You, the Board of Selectmen, has to make the election whether you want one or the other or both.
Right, but if you do both, what I'm saying is then, what does the, is it the taxpayer who says, okay, I'll take the deferment, or I'll take the, reduced charge?
It's interest, right? The less interest.
The less interest, yeah.
Right.
Uh,
I mean, if you take both, how does that work?
I don't know the answer to that question. Tony, do you know it?
Well, my guess, I don't know, but if you think both, you're talking about the July 1st payment.
Yes.
You wouldn't necessarily have a low interest because it's deferred. Right? You're deferring.
Low interest is in loop.
It's moot because you're deferring the payment anyway.
Correct.
So it would impact folks that have interest payments. That would impact someone who has a bill, taxes that are due, say, prior to July 1, and they pay that before the end of the period, before July 1, and then interest on the amount they pay.
Right.
That would impact.
But given our tax collection rate, there wouldn't be many people in that category. Is that correct?
There's not that many. Not compared to the total number of taxpayers.
Right. So it really wouldn't necessarily pay to do both.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to eliminate the options we have.
I'm trying to think for the greater good, given the meeting, the preliminary budget hearing tonight, where we heard from a lot of folks who sounded like, they were suffering. I've gotten comments from people. I think it's important that we do what will help most taxpayers in the town. Hopefully everyone will act within good faith, and, if they really need it, they need it, and if they don't, they shouldn't apply. When it comes time to pay their taxes. So I will throw that out there. It's a difficult choice for us, but we really have to make a decision. So, let's see. So,
Tony and Beth, what conclusion did you come to in terms of your consideration?
Well, my personal opinion, I prefer to do for best for the town is probably the deferment program. Probably best for the taxpayers, and probably the low interest rate program is better for the town. Is that correct, Tony?
That's correct.
Yep. So
Mika.
No, I was just going to say the full intent, the reason they're doing it is specifically to help the taxpayer. That's the
Correct.
reason that any of this is even in consideration, so.
That may be very, why most of the towns at least in our Sprague went with the deferment program. I don't know. They didn't give reason. I just took a quick poll because I knew we were having our meeting tonight. So,
I mean, personally, I would lean towards the deferment, and the question is whether or not you make it for everyone in town or the people who request the deferment. I hate to see the town spend unnecessary money for the anticipation notes. I mean, it's not inexpensive to do that.
No, it's maybe about between $20,000 and $30,000 for the whole process, the interest, the cost to issue.
That's a lot of money, I think.
yeah.
And probably we'd have lost interest income because if people don't pay, usually we have interest. We invest funds in July and August until they're necessary in September.
Yeah.
So maybe the balance is that we go with the deferment option for those people who qualify. And obviously, you will get the escrow dollars, the 44% of people who pay that way.
Yep.
And then people who don't actually need the deferment will also pay, and therefore we may not need any anticipation notes.
That's possible, yes.
Is that a fair assumption, Tony, or not?
Yes.
So, who haven't we heard from? Joe Crisco, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay. Joe Dye?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi there.
Yeah, so, I would be inclined to, think that we should proceed with the tax permit for eligible taxpayers.
Okay. And Dwight? I don't know if you commented, sorry.
No, it's basically the same. I think that's fair. I think we look for the, to protect the taxpayers in our.
Okay, so it sounds like we're getting to consensus. Just to move it forward, maybe could one of you read? I can't find my paper. It's here somewhere. The actual the permit program.
Okay, this is Sandy. Here is the motion. The Board of Selectmen, pursuant to Governor Lamont's Executive Order 7S, Section 6A, hereby elects to participate in the deferment program for all eligible taxpayers, businesses, nonprofits, and residents, whereby a deferment of 90 days to pay any taxes on real property, personal property, or motor vehicles from the day said tax became hereby approved.
Okay, I will second that. Is there? Go ahead. Further discussion.
No, do you have to fill out that, don't you?
I'm sorry.
This includes, Joe, eligible taxpayers. So we are not making the decision that it's all taxpayers. It's just those who are eligible.
Anyone else have any comments? Questions? I think we're okay to go forward with the motion. We have a motion and a second. So I will call on each of you individually. Mika Cardozo?
Aye.
Joe Crisco?
Aye.
Joe Dye?
Aye.
Thank you, Joe. Beth Heller, aye. Greg Bullen?
Aye.
And Sandy Stein?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. That takes care of that. And we have to send the form in. I have it here, and it looks like program contact will fill it. We'll take care of make sure that gets in by the 20th. Jerry Weiner, is there anything we need to do relative to this item?
No, just a copy of, just this motion has to be sent off to OPM by Friday.
Okay, along with this, that we have a form that we have to sign, who the program contact is and CEO certification, et cetera.
Yes.
Okay,
And that's it.
that goes to Martin Heft at CT Gov. Okay, we'll take care of that and make sure it gets in.
And then the town should consider how the word will get out about the program being implemented and how people can apply.
Okay, that's a good thought. Thank you. Okay, good. Item 3 on the agenda is discussion of adoption of a resolution regarding local declaration of emergency. And I can preface this with this came up. Apparently there is already a state declaration of emergency. Is that correct, Jerry?
Correct.
That's on the tax, that the people have to be notified that they have to pay all the interest if they don't pay by such a date.
I'm sorry, Joe, could you ask that again? I'm sorry, we were on another item. I'm sorry.
That the people have to be notified if they don't pay by a certain date, they have to pay the interest.
Say it again.
Yeah, I don't know. Jerry, do you have an idea, or Tony, an answer to that?
I don't understand the question. I don't know.
I think the interest would accrue once the 90 days is up.
That's correct.
Right. Exactly.
When it's
Yeah.
During the 90 days, there's no interest.
Okay, he's got it. All right, thank you. All right, back to item 3. Tony and I and the police chief and fire chief were both on a very long municipal call with folks regarding the FEMA restoration. We get 75% of sort of like a hurricane. We're required, we submit the proper forms. Allegedly, we get perhaps up to 75% reimbursement from the federal government. It's declared a disaster or an emergency. And it was suggested at that meeting that in addition to being sort of under the umbrella of the state declaration, that each municipality also declare a declaration of civil preparedness or emergency in the town. So Jerry drafted a declaration, which I hope you all received. And I guess I should probably read it for the viewing audience. Is that correct, Jerry?
Correct.
Okay. Resolution approving a declaration of civil preparedness emergency in the town of Woodbridge. Be it hereby resolved that whereas on March 10, 2020, Governor Ned Lamont issued a declaration of public health and civil preparedness emergencies, proclaiming state of emergencies throughout the state of Connecticut as a result of the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, and outbreaks in the United States and confirmed spread in Connecticut. Whereas Governor Lamont has issued various executive orders designed to protect public health and safety. Now, therefore, I, Beth Heller, First Selectman of the town of Woodbridge, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the state of Connecticut, and in order to mitigate the major disaster and emergency caused by COVID-19, which affect the health and well-being of residents of the town of Woodbridge, do hereby order and direct the following. In accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, Section 28-8A, parens A and parens, 28-1, parens 8 and parens, 28-22, and Section 5.2 of the Woodbridge Charter, and as a result of COVID-19, I hereby declare that a civil preparedness emergency exists in the town of Woodbridge. This declaration shall remain in effect until terminated. And then the signatures are below, and it will be witnessed by the town clerk. Does anyone have any questions on the resolution that I just read?
Yeah,
Comments?
Jerry, I haven't read those at the charter, unfortunately, but so we need to authorize them to make that declaration.
I can't hear you very well, Joe. You keep going in and out.
I couldn't understand you either.
Hold on.
Okay.
Is this better?
A little
Yeah,
better.
try it again.
Better? My question is, do we have to authorize, at the board, do we have to authorize that to make the declaration?
Yes.
Correct.
that's set out in the charter, set out in the general statutes. And the charter, section 5-2 says that she has the ability to carry out all the responsibilities set out in the general statute. So our charter does refer to the state statute. You probably do not, but I thought it wise that you just approve the resolution just for the record in case anybody asks any questions.
Okay, I don't have a particular problem. I just didn't think it was necessary. I just wanted to clear that up.
You're right. She can do it on her own.
Okay, yeah, probably better though to let you guys know. Okay, so, should we have a motion to do it, Jerry, just to be safe?
I think-
Sorry?
Mr. Moved.
Okay, is there a set move of do resolution? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Right, okay.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion or questions on it? Hearing none, I'll now call the, read your names again. Sorry for, by your name. Mika Cardozo,
Aye.
Joe Crisco,
Aye.
Joe Dye,
Aye.
Beth Heller, aye. Roland,
Aye.
Sandy Stein.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Is there anything else? I guess I'll make a motion that we adjourn unless anyone else has any comments or questions to bring up. Hearing none, I motion that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Mika?
Aye.
Joe Crisco?
Aye.
Joe Dye?
Aye.
Beth Heller, aye. Dwight Rowland?
Aye.
And Sandy Stein?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and please stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, Jerry.